And let's now take you across to our expert guest as well to get his views. We're joined by Ambassador S.R. Tayal, a former senior diplomat. Good afternoon to you, Ambassador Tayal. What do you make of how there are largely now not one but at least two overhangs on the ceasefire? One, of course, is Hormuz, and the other is what's happening between Israel and Lebanon. It seems Pakistan also wants to become a party in the entire matter instead of a mediator.
Actually, Pakistan or no senior minister of Pakistan should have issued that kind of a statement if it wants to play the role of a mediator, because mediation is not only between Iran and United States, which of course Pakistan is doing directly, but Israel is very much a party to this conflict, and it is practically a conjoined ally of United States. So United States and Israel are working in tandem in this process of ceasefire, and in Hormuz, of course, issue, Israel is not involved. So there are three stages. Ceasefire on Iran perhaps is holding, but Iran's interpretation is that ceasefire involves Israel's attack on Lebanon should also cease in retaliation to Hezbollah's attacks from Lebanon to Israel. Israel has repeatedly said that it was not a party to these negotiations and whatever mediation took place by Pakistan. So the ceasefire does not apply to its attacks on Lebanon. And Vice President J.D. Vance has also corroborated this interpretation of ceasefire. So now Iran has very clearly said that the negotiations in Islamabad may not take place if there is no ceasefire in Lebanon by Israel. And as your report just showed, that the statement has come that their speaker and their foreign minister have not left for Pakistan, and they may not leave. So this is very high stakes negotiations. I'm sure Pakistan would be trying to pressurize America, United States, J.D. Vance, Vice President, to pressurize Iran in turn, to Israel in turn, to stop its attacks on Lebanon. Today also there were reports of some attacks in the southern part of Lebanon by Israel. And unless that is stopped, I feel that the Iranian delegation may not go to Pakistan. So Iran is playing for very high stakes. And if United States does not pressurize Israel to stop attacks on Lebanon, then my own assessment is that Iran may not go to Islamabad for these negotiations tomorrow, and it will be a huge loss of face for Pakistan as well as for United States, and what President Trump might do in retaliation is anybody's guess.
Yes, because if the Iranians do not keep up their end of the bargain, which is not just a ceasefire but also holding talks in Islamabad, Trump has already warned that we can start shooting again. So do you think that is a very real scenario now, that the conflict might be reignited and escalated further?
This whole agreement or understanding, well, no written agreement, but whatever understanding was, is on hold now. Ceasefire is on hold in the sense that Israel-Lebanon conflict is still going on. Then Strait of Hormuz, again, Iran has put everything on hold, on stop. Then no ships are passing through Strait of Hormuz, because Iran says that unless there is stoppage of attacks on Lebanon, Strait for Hormuz will not be opened, as was the understanding mediated by Pakistan. So at present, only the part which is direct attack from United States and Israel on Iran, that is holding. And in retaliation, Iran is not attacking other Gulf countries. That is holding. But Strait of Hormuz is not open. That is the bargaining chip which Iran has over United States. that it will not open the Strait of Hormuz till United States pressurizes Israel to stop and cease its continued air attacks and border attacks in Lebanon.
Yes, and in terms of how Israel too is a party, it has already said that it will have negotiations with the Lebanese government to disarm the Hezbollah in Washington DC next week. But that is again a prospect that is highly improbable because of the way the power dynamics operate in Lebanon itself. The Lebanese government is I mean, it doesn't really have a standing, much of a standing where the Hezbollah is concerned. The Hezbollah is far more powerful militarily, isn't it?
And that's right. The government of Lebanon does not have the military strength to restrain Hezbollah or disarm Hezbollah. So that is one part of the story. But the immediate issue before the entire world, entire Gulf, entire Asia, United States, Iran, is that tomorrow's talks must take place between Iran and United States in Islamabad, because if the war restarts, then the consequences can be very damaging for the global economy. And there I am of the view that Israel must show some understanding. It has inflicted enough damage on Iran, on Hamas, on Hezbollah, that they cannot harm any great interest of Israel. Israel should not try to go for the finish. It should have some concern for its friends like India. Welfare of 1.4 billion people is involved, and Israel is not being at all reasonable. It is being very difficult, and it must show some understanding that by its intransigence, it is putting the global economy in danger when its own security is now more or less secured. Iran is so weak now. Their nuclear capacity has been totally demolished, and Hezbollah is very weak, hardly anything. Hamas is finished. So Israel must show some restraint, some understanding, some concern for the global welfare, and not be consumed by its own welfare. And it has achieved a lot. It must immediately stop any kind of action against Lebanon, so that Iran can send its delegation to Islamabad and negotiations can take place tomorrow. Otherwise, the whole story will be repeated. There will be attacks by United States on Iran. Iran will attack the Gulf countries. Then another 10-15 days, President Trump will again say that now I am putting a stop, and the whole cycle will be repeated. I hope that President Trump takes a very firm line against Israel, because Israel, and I am afraid our friend Prime Minister Netanyahu, he is being very unreasonable, and he is not taking into account at all the interests of his friend countries like India, 1.5 billion people.
Yes, certainly. That does seem to be a bit of a hurdle right now as far as any efforts at peace are concerned. The kind of attitude that Israel has maintained, let's wait and see if things move forward. And that will only become clearer when we see an Iranian delegation arrive in Islamabad. Thanks so much for joining us, Ambassador Tayal.